Hi Tim, it's Alan Cocker with ABC, hitting coordinator with the Arizona Diamondbacks. We're going to go through your video today. I'm going to let it run a couple times. Let's talk about some things that I see. I really like your setup position. I think you're an athletic, balanced position. I like your load. I like how you just kind of settle into that back leg. A lot of young hitters will load on top of that back leg and kind of sway back. You don't do that. I'll show you what I mean a little bit later, but I like how you settle into your legs. I see something when you set your foot down and we start to swing, we get a little locked out a little bit early, and I think that stride foot maybe opens up slightly too much. That kind of pulls our hips open, makes it a little, probably will make it a little difficult to handle pitches outer third in the strike zone, and definitely some breaking balls, change-ups, anything off speed, working away from us at a little slower pace. So we want to try to stay into that front leg with a squared up front hip as long as we can before we get into driving the backside through the swing. So having said that, now we'll just kind of slow this down, and I'll talk about I'll draw exactly what I'm talking about. The load for me, and you don't see this a lot with young hitters, you do a good job of loading into that back leg, okay? And when the stride foot gets down, we want to see this back knee inside this back foot, okay? You do a good job there. That tells me you're loading into that front, or into that inside part of that back leg. We want to see equal bend in both knees, okay? We want to see the hip square. You got a little bit of tilt here and a little bit of open hip to the pull side. The shoulders are nice and square, hands are shoulder height. Get good separation with your hands outside your back knee. And your head sits over your belt buckle, which is a good attacking position. But to go back to this front hip a little bit, excuse me, a lot of times when this front hip starts to open a little bit quickly, it has a lot to do with the stride foot. When the stride foot sets down, okay, and we put stride foot and we measure where we are at the moment that the stride foot sets down, okay, right about there, or let me run it forward to there. When the stride foot sets down right about here, okay, I'm going to erase lines, and now I'm going to just run it forward one more click. Okay, right about there, we want to make sure that the stride foot is no more open than 45 degrees. Okay, we'll just draw some lines here on you. You're 46. You're actually not in a bad position with that stride foot. But just keep in mind, when hitting coaches talk about staying closed with your front side, we're not specifically talking about keeping this foot totally squared up to home plate. What we're talking about is keeping this front hip in a little bit longer so we can start our swing with our backside. If this front hip starts to leak open a little bit too quickly to the pull side, then our backside will work around the front side, and that just brings our hands in and out of the zone. So the first move that we want to see is driving this weight that you have gathered up or stored up into that back leg. We want to drive it forward into this front leg and drive it to the inside part there, okay? As that happens, we'll see that you get a good drive, and as soon as you start to drive, the elbow will drop underneath the hands with this back knee. As the back knee starts to drive forward, the elbow will drop underneath into this slot, okay? So we'll run it forward a couple of clicks. We'll see that the elbow drops underneath, and now the hands start to work forward. But what we have at this position right here is we have the connection. Okay, the connection is the hands, the elbow, and the back hip are all lined up, and it's now that this lower half drive is passing off that energy to the hands. The hands will start to work forward in front of the body, and as they do, we should be in a position to be able to stay through the ball to get full extension. And this is the position that we want to see. Once we get to contact, we want to see that the barrel of the bat is extending fully towards the pitcher, and we see a very nice full long finish out of your swing. Okay. One thing I would like to just add as we look at your swing, and we'll take it to the contact point. Okay. If we can keep the position that you're in right here, palm up, palm down, head and eyes down in the hitting zone, for at least one count past contact, we're going to be assured of getting through this ball and getting to this position where we're at the fully extended point in our swing, barrel of the bat facing the pitcher. Tim, I want you to know, as soon as the head and eyes leave the hitting zone, the swing is over, because the barrel of the bat is going to follow our head and eyes, and if we start to come up too quickly with our head and eyes, we're just pulling the barrel of the bat with us right out of the zone. So anytime you do any work in the cage, whether it be a tee, soft toss, front flips, anything, batting practice, even on the field, get into the habit of burying that head and eyes down in the hitting zone for at least one count after contact, so we can get to a good fully extended position with the barrel of our bat getting through the ball. Okay, you do a very, very good job of that. I think that all looks good. You know, when I look at your swing, you know, in its entirety, you know, I wonder, do you have the ability to stay on the ball that's out here, this pitch that's on the outer third, the ability to stay through that ball with, you know, anything that's spinning away from you or anything off speed? You know, my suggestion, I think, since this is the toughest ball to hit, this is a ball that we need to work on a lot in the cage. So any type of drill work that you might do, I suggest it be off a tee. And let's just work to stay on this ball, driving this back knee, driving it inside to the inside part of the front leg, getting to contact where you're palm up, palm down, and extending this barrel through the ball. In a cage, we're going to drive it through the right side. On a field, we're going to drive it through the second baseman into right center field. We're going to try to keep this ball flat on a line. We're going to try to keep it off the top of the net. We want to make sure that top hand is staying palm up through this baseball to full extension with the barrel of the bat facing the pitcher, and then we're going to finish. But you know, very, very good, solid balance with your lower half, good transfer of weight, good connection, letting the elbow fall underneath the hands, and then driving the hands forward, keeping the top hand palm up through the baseball. I think you're well on your way to becoming a very good hitter. So keep up the good work, and I really want to thank you for coming to our camp, bud. Best of luck.